I'm Brad, and I've been a tour guide for nearly 10 years. It's been my pleasure to show the best that my country has to offer to the hundreds of guests I've hosted over the years. Now you get to be my guest as I take you on an eco tour of paradise. Hey guys, welcome back. Brad here for another exciting episode of Brad's Bahama Eco Trip. Now, basically guys, what we're looking at is the Blackland Coppice. So this topic for our video today will be about the most diverse ecosystem in the Bahamas, or terrestrial ecozone. Now, the Blackland Coppice is very diverse, okay? You can find an average of 100 different plants, trees, and shrubs in a square mile of Blackland Coppice. And its thick, aggressive growth, the nature that it has to move very quickly and spread, makes it relatively invasive, especially in areas that it grows next to competing ecosystems such as the pine forest. So essentials that the pines need, like space, sunlight, and adequate fresh water, the Blackland Coppice has the ability to gobble up those essentials and spread relatively quickly. Okay, and there's so much diversity, it's also where you can find the majority of the wildlife in the Bahamas. Now, Blackland Coppice can feature vegetations like the Gumbo Limbo. Also, we have lancewoods, we have pigeon plums, we have just a number of vegetations that we showcase on a medicinal capacity, as well as deriving fruit from these different types of trees. Now right here we have the Lysoloma latticillicium, or the wild tamarind. And wild tamarind is actually used medicinally to treat nausea. It looks very similar to the leaves that you find on, say, jacaranda or royal poinciana. However, these types of vegetations, while growing in an environment that's so competitive, they will form these chemical deterrents called allelopathic polyacetylenes. And they basically deter any types of other vegetation trying to compete, giving the tree a nice healthy radius of space to grow and propagate and so forth. Now, wild tamarinds create these broad, very flat pods with their seeds that they disperse through the wind. Moving on. We have the satin leaf right here. Satin leaf is in the saffron family. As you can see, it has a very fuzzy texture to it, and that fuzziness is one of the reasons why it has that name. And it's also known scientifically as the Chrysophyllum oliviforme. And while we know saffron has species that could potentially be quite expensive, this is not that particular type of saffron. And up here we have what's known as the Basilia piscipula, or the Jamaican Dogwood. Jamaican Dogwood is another one of those vegetations that would have that same chemical deterrent, the allelopathic polyacetylene, that deters other types of vegetation. It is a natural insecticide, or it has natural insecticide properties to it, so it deters quite a bit of insects from tampering with the tree itself, the tree structure. Now, Jamaican Dogwood also has folklore behind it as it was used to fish. Now basically you can crush the leaves up and they would release a toxin that has the ability to sedate fish. So you'll be able to pretty much pick them up out of the water, okay? I don't think that is allowed so much anymore. And this is one of the protected types of vegetation that you can find here in the Blackland Coppice. Right over here we have another very popular favorite, the Gumbo Limbo, otherwise known as the gum elemi. Now the gum elemi is a very important type of vegetation because it's the antidote for our poison wood. The Persera ceruba or Gumbo Limbo, when applied topically, will immediately start to neutralize the effects of our poison wood or Metopium toxiferum. Once you crush those leaves up, that natural ingredient is secreted where you can just apply it directly to where you have the infection of the urushiol. But Gumbo Limbo has multiple properties for medicine. Okay, another one of the properties would be the fact that when ingested in the tea form, it's good for the treatment of rheumatism and stiffness of joints. So it's good for your arthritis and back pain and so forth. It's a very, very useful type of vegetation. It's also used in yards as a type of tree just for its sheer beauty. It has a very unusual look to it. Reddish, flaky bark. It's also been given the name over the years of the tourist plant because its nature appears as if it's sunburning. It's peeling due to sunburn. So it has a very flaky, flimsy bark that starts to peel as the tree matures. And people liken it to how sunburn looks once you get a bad sunburn. Now to compare the two, because it's quite peculiar situation that the poison wood has with our Gumbo Limbo, is you can't really go more than 10 feet from either tree without seeing the other one. Okay, they grow pretty closely together, and one might get confused as to which one is which. So with our poison wood, you know, we have black spots all over the leaves. It's usually where the oil, urushiol, is leaking out of the tree. It also has orange patches on its bark, whereas the Gumbo Limbo or the gum elemi has a peeling, flaky bark and white spots along its trunk. Okay, so leaves are pretty similar. They appear in like a pattern of 3, so you definitely don't want to confuse the two, and that would be some of the ways you can differentiate between them because they grow very close together. Alright, so right here amongst some of this love vine, we have the Coco loba diversifolia, otherwise known as the pigeon plum. Pigeon plums are very commonly found in the Blackland Coppice, and they have a number of applications, both medicinal as well as production in just everyday life. Now the pigeon plum can be used to make jams and jellies, just like a sea grape can. As a matter of fact, it's in the same genus, as well as far as medicinal properties go. Pigeon plum is used to make a tea that can be used as an aphrodisiac, and also a treatment for diarrhea and other gastrointestinal problems. So pigeon plum would be in the group of some of those fruit-bearing trees that we so love in the Bahamas. It's also a famous tree for birds. Birds love to eat these berries as well. And the tree can grow actually pretty tall. So the trees can grow up to about 35 to 40 feet. And they're not very drought tolerant or salt tolerant, so they're more commonly found in places like the Blackland Coppice, more to the center of the island. I'm glad I got to share this part of my home with you. If you've enjoyed the tour, be sure to click the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll see you on our shore soon.